the leadership of the then Labour Party under Ramsay MacDonald betrayed the miners. In 1984-5, in my opinion, Neil Kinnock, by his failure to call on workers to not cross picket lines, betrayed the miners. There were honourable exceptions in the leadership of the Labour Party. And one of them is in this hall tonight, and he was prepared and did speak with me and Heathfield and McGackie in rallies all over Britain, demonstrating real class solidarity. I want to pay a personal tribute to Jim Mortimer, the former leader of the Labour Party. What happened at the beginning of the miners' strike? For those uneducated hacks who keep writing about it, and those stupid politicians who want to read a little bit deeper. It's been said that we started the dispute at the wrong time and probably in the wrong place. What a load of codswallop. One reporter said this last weekend, the wrong time to start a strike or a dispute in the mining industry is in the spring. I agree. That's why we started it in November 1983. And during the 4 months that followed, we saw the coal board's output fall by 30%. And I'll put it into simple terms so that a journalist will not have to work it out. They lost 12 million tonnes of coal. So that when the strike was actually promoted by Thatcher, the stocks of coal in Britain were less than they had been in 1981 and probably less than they had been in the 70s. We had no option. We were faced with a simple choice. We had an agreement in the industry which said, in the plan for coal, signed by the government, signed by the coal board, signed by the mining unions, that if they wanted to change in any way the structure of a pit, or to close a pit, a procedure lasting at least 9 months had to be gone through, with the miners able to put their case. The first week of March 1984, 4 area directors announced the immediate closure of 5 pits. To close pits on an area basis. Well, I tell you where I stand. If they decide to close pits on an area basis, we develop tactics to fight back. And I'm sick and tired of listening to people. Advise me what we ought to have done and how we should have responded. One journalist said Scargill had been reading the wrong Soviet books. Untrue, I've been reading the right one. I've been reading about Zhukov. And I knew that if we were attacked on the left, that's where we fought back. We were fighting against the closure of pits in 4 areas. And therefore we gave, in accordance with the rules of our union, full authority for those areas to take strike action. At a time when the entire coalfield was already on partial strike in an overtime ban. What's not often reported is that that strike, which was declared unlawful in the High Court, was declared lawful in the Scottish High Court. Now, why is it that every correspondent in every paper, with some honourable exceptions like Seamus Milne, ignore or forget that very important fact? Why is it that a court in Scotland can declare the strike legal, while the English High Court declares it illegal? The answer is simple. We weren't involved in legalities. They were taking us on in what's known as a class war. The trouble is that those leaders in the trade union movement, with honourable exceptions, and certainly in the Labour Party with very honourable exceptions, didn't understand or see what could have been achieved. If Kinnock had have given his full support and called on workers to support the strike, as the party had done in 1981, when we were out on an unofficial strike, Thatcher would have been out of office, in my view, in a year. We're now reaping the whirlwind of that which was sown by that decision in 1984. Were we right?
Yeah.
Of course we were right. There's one way that you can challenge the law when it's unfair. I understand the restrictions on barristers and solicitors. I've heard all the arguments. I've been before more judges than I could count on a modern computer. And they're all say the same thing. But there's one way you can respond. You can respond in exactly the same way as the Chartists did, the Levellers, the Suffragettes, the Tolpuddle Martyrs. You can take action irrespective of an unfair law. Forward! People say in Nazi Germany who defied the law when they knew it to be wrong. Everybody knows that the anti-trade union laws that were being brought against miners were rigged. We were being taken to court on spurious charges. I've never seen anything like it in my life. When they were bringing in a receiver, we were told by our legal team to go and see an expert barrister in trust law. We were told this man knows more about trust laws than anybody. We went into his chambers and he sat there with his cigar and he said, I don't think there's a lot to worry about here. No, Mr. Scargill. All we have to do, is to say that we will not move the money. I said, but it's ours. You know, the members have given it to the union to preserve for them. Yes, I know that, but that's not how the courts see it, you see. I said, I see. So what should we do? Well, he said, if you would agree to not touch that money, he said, then they wouldn't be received, you see, because we would have complied. I've got no doubt, Mr. Scargill, none at all.